Yeah, no, it's crazy. The matchup has kind of lost some of the excitement, I guess you could say, from this summer. It's still a huge weekend for Texas A&M to somehow come out with a good performance on Saturday, because I've been putting together the recruiting list the past couple of weekends, and it's a huge group of people coming in. So I think it's still an important weekend somehow, some way for Texas A&M to put a good performance on the field. And but yeah, it's going to be a tall task, and again, going against Alabama, just given all the struggles the past few weeks, and how Alabama's playing. I was saying this to somebody the other day. It's funny, every year we kind of say this might be the year that Alabama has to replace a lot of guys and replace coordinators and do all this, and then come out and keep rolling every single week.
That's what it's been, and I don't expect it to change until they show us otherwise.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different paths we can go on this. So the first one I'll take is that yes, this game was blown out of proportion for the entire off season.
Yeah.
Many predicted this to be the game of the year in the SEC, if not the nation, and that it might be Texas A&M's opportunity to surpass Alabama as the team in the SEC Western Division. Well, they've already lost to Arkansas and Mississippi State, as you mentioned. Unless something unforeseen happens, Texas A&M, if they pull off the miraculous upset, they're down by a game. They need somebody else to beat Alabama. Yes, it's still possible, but it's really not feasible based on the math, and also more so based on the way the teams are playing and what they've shown to date. I think everybody would agree with that. So the SEC West off the table, and this season trending with a lot more difficult games coming up with Ole Miss and LSU. They're having their issues as well, but still a number of teams, after having lost to Arkansas and Mississippi State, you can see where just about every game in the SEC Western Division is going to be a battle, is going to be not a checklist win like we thought in the offseason. So what is the mood, the vibe? What's Jimbo saying about goals, about accomplishments, about trying to salvage this season and what they can make it to be?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Well, obviously he did acknowledge this week. He was asked, your goals realistically right now are probably going to be different than what you probably expected in the preseason. And he said, we just got to play week to week. You can't worry about goals during the season. You just got to go after Alabama. They got Missouri and South Carolina, and then regroup, and potentially by then probably start, eyeing when they'll probably have a better idea by then when Haynes King could be able to return, and for maybe the back half of the season. But week to week right now, they've got to play well against Alabama, like I mentioned, just because for them it's about being able to, with the goals being different, pick up as many wins as you can to keep recruiting going, and then regroup in the off season and come back and try to make a run at the goals next season. But right now they could be staring at, it's a very real possibility, they could be staring at 3 losses by this time next week, and 3 in a row. Then you're heading for a really tricky game. What was already considered a tricky game to Missouri, coming off that Alabama week. I know a lot of people kind of looked at. I know Missouri has had their struggles as well. Then South Carolina as well after that. So there's a chance those are probably your 2 easiest games left on the schedule. But I think they're just trying to take it week to week and collect as many wins as possible. If they can get to 8 wins, 9 wins somehow, I think they'll be all right. It certainly would still be qualified as a disappointing season, but I don't think it would be necessarily backbreaking for recruiting purposes and that type of thing.